Hi, everybody. It's Bill with the Edge of Eternity, Bill Cameron, and I just wanted to come to you tonight to show you some of the highlights of this year's Olympics taking place in Paris. It's been a different type of Olympics than I grew up with. We used to always watch and couldn't wait to see who could swim the fastest and who could jump the highest, and all of those wonderful things that they did. And the whole country and the whole world would be wrapped around the television watching what was going on. But this year is a little bit different, and I want to share some of that with you. As I mentioned, the Olympics are taking place in Paris now, and many athletes are participating. They've had some glitches and problems with power going out, and the river being dirty, and swimmers can't swim, and things like that. But then there's other things that are going on that are really quite interesting. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Olympics. We're going to talk about what's happening, not just there, but around the world. You see in the picture behind me, of course, you have the athletes running and jumping, and you have all of the colors of the rainbow making up the Olympic rings. That's so special. Don't forget about the men competing in the women's events as well. Look at the airplanes and the fighter jets in the sky and the demons down in the front left. They've done a great job of not leaving anyone out of this picture. They even show some gods, who of course are unnamed. Just wait, they're even going to show Jesus and his disciples.
Already providing us with world records, surprising new talents, and some of the most unforgettable racing that we have ever witnessed. The talent pool awaiting in this year's Olympic Games for track and field is nothing short of exceptional.
And look at the time, 1:41.
In the men's
and let the games begin with a prayer. Apollo, god of the sun, and the idea of light, send your rays and light the sacred torch for the hospitable city of Paris, and you, Zeus, give peace to all peoples on earth, and wreath the winners of the sacred race.
I don't think he sent them light. If anything, you'll see in a few seconds, darkness came upon Paris. But then came the opening ceremony, and one thing after another from the Bible was mocked by a group of crazy, stupid, progressive liberals. Take a look. The pale horse of the book of Revelation is one thing they show. They mocked the Last Supper by a group of transvestites and an overweight lesbian that played as Jesus. Look at this sickening sight of men dressed like women appearing in a sexual way on stage. There were other things where literally, even parts of human genitals or men genitals were exposed on camera. This is Marie Antoinette. Even the golden calf had an appearance, or at least a golden head of a bull, as you can see over there next to the calf. But look, one thing after another, it was such an uproar that they had to even apologize. But Paris, the next night, experienced this one. Take a look at this one. Boom. Lights were off. Power outage all over Paris. It was completely dark. Only in the very, very distance you can see the Sacré-Cœur, the famous church on the Montmartre. That's the only place that had some lights on. A church had lights on. The rest of the city was actually in complete darkness. Of course, they said that it was an act of sabotage. I think it was very symbolic that the night after such a demonic and pagan ceremony, the lights were out in Paris.
Hypocrisy reigns supreme along with anti-Semitism. First, we see a Palestine delegation. Why do I say hypocrisy? Palestine is not even a country that really exists. I'm sure you've noticed that this world likes to believe in things that are absolutely not true. The Olympics allow Palestinians to wear shirts on them that show rockets and bombs dropping on Palestine, but do not allow Israelis to wear yellow ribbons on their shirts to show solidarity with those hostages that are still being held in Palestine.
Now, if that's not enough, I just want you to know that of the 8 members of the Palestine delegation, only one literally qualified to the Olympics, and he was defeated upon the first fight, and the rest of them are not even people who were born in the West Bank or Gaza. So it's just a show of hypocrisy and lunacy. The Israeli delegation was not even mentioned by the BBC. When you see them coming on the boat on the Seine River, and you can clearly see, everybody could see them, but the BBC decided to talk about the Palestinians and completely even ignore that one. Now, if that's not enough, we've seen one after another so far in the very first few days, acts of anti-Semitism. For example, this Israeli judoka that you see had a fight with a judoka from Tajikistan. This one is a judoka that his counterpart from Algeria decided that he doesn't want to fight, so he ate a lot and disqualified himself when it comes to the weight. But besides that, there was another one, not this one, but there was another one from Tajikistan named Norali Amomali, who refused to shake the hand of the Israeli, and then in his next fight, after he said Allahu Akbar, he actually seriously injured his shoulder and finished his story in the Olympic Games. I guess you don't want to say Allahu Akbar to an Israeli after you refuse to even shake his hand. Nobody even mentioned the Iranian Kurdish a karate fighter who was having a dream to be in the Paris Olympics, but he was executed by the Iranian regime. Look at the symbol of the Olympic Games that he already marked on his hand in his wish to be there. Nobody even mentioned him.
And if that isn't enough, you can see cards like this displayed around the city of Paris. They will say things like this: if you want to kill for sport, there is no competition. And it shows the Israelis. This placard is placed at a bus stop in Paris. Remember, the Olympic Committee would not allow Israel to wear yellow ribbons on their shirts to recognize their fellow citizens who are still being held as hostages. That said, the Israelis found a very unique way in the pool to say, "Bring our people home now," regarding the hostages.
The last thing is, as you can see in the New York Post, if I don't, it was reported that in a soccer game, Heil Hitler was actually chanted by pro-Palestinians in Paris. That's the Olympic Games so far. Horrific, satanic, diabolic, pagan, anti-Semitic display, which I have no intention in watching whatsoever.
This is what the prophet Zechariah says: "Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses will be rifled. The women will be ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then the Lord shall go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the days of battle." The Olympics are a microcosm of this world. All the countries coming together, and look at what is happening. Nobody is fighting or arguing against all of these things that are being said or things that are being held against Israel. Israel is God's people. God made Israel. He called it his own. Jerusalem is the apple of his eye. He wants to save Israel, and he will save Israel in spite of mankind. In the meantime, are you supporting Israel? And even more important than that, are you a child of God? Please consider this, because the time is running out according to what the Bible tells us, and I want you to know Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. God bless you.